Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this second series of the teaching webinars of NursEduPal at IMPACT. First of all, I would like to thank the IMPACT team from Hospice Casa Speranza and all the speakers of the first webinar series on leadership in palliative care for a job very well done. All the webinars, as well as the presentations used, are or will be available soon to our project website, as Patricia already mentioned. I am Dani Veerle and I am the coordinator of the NursEduPal at IMPACT project. I am also the research coordinator at the School of Nursing at HOWEST, University of Applied Sciences in Bruges, in Belgium, and I share that responsibility together with Veerle, who is the presenter of today. But before I present Veerle, I would like to set the context of this second series of webinars. In the 6 upcoming webinars, we will discuss with you different topics that are important to understand the palliative care approach. We will do this at the generalist level, so for a broad group of healthcare providers. The information that we will share with you is therefore not at the specialist level. This is important for you to keep in mind when attending the webinars. We hope that when this webinar series is completed, you will feel strengthened in your palliative care attitude. Through our website, we will also share impact tools to help you increase your self-efficacy in the topics discussed in this second series. As such, we hope to bring you one step closer in becoming a palliative care influencer. Now it is my pleasure to introduce Veerle Coupez. Veerle is a nurse with a master's degree in medical and social sciences and a master's degree in education. She is a senior lecturer at HOWEST School of Nursing and a clinical expert in palliative care. Veerle will talk about the basics of palliative care and provide tools to help you develop a particular reasoning pathway to identify palliative care needs in time. Veerle, you have the floor.
Thank you, Dani and Patricia. I just try to start. Okay. In this webinar, I will define what palliative care is, including its core principles, the goals, and the distinction between palliative and curative care. I will also identify who qualifies for palliative care and explain when palliative care should begin, recognizing the importance of early integration of palliative care, and I will show you the transition from curative to palliative care using our cure care diagram. I will describe where palliative care can be provided, and finally, we will analyze why palliative care is essential. But before I start giving you lots of information, I want to tell you something about the goal of our project and also the 2 ways you can view this webinar and our series of webinars. We noticed that there is already a lot of information about palliative care. Maybe you are someone now watching because you want to learn about the basics of palliative care, but maybe you are a teacher and you think, oh, maybe how is this class given? How is this webinar done? So these are the 2 ways. There is already a lot of training, and I know a lot of trainers do really, really well. But they tell us so many times that nothing gets done with all this information. It's not used in the practice. So that's why we as the project team believed that there's a lack of coaching for nurses to bring all that information into practice. So if you're a nurse, you're also a coach of other nurses. If you're a teacher, you coach other nurses. So you can watch this webinar and see how we try to train, how we try to give confidence to nurses to do things into the practice. Why is training not always effective? Research shows that knowledge is important, but self-efficacy is the key to bring knowledge really into the workplace. What is self-efficacy? It's that feeling of confidence, a feeling of, yes, I can. In our project, we use the figure of Pippi Longstocking, who says, I have never done it before, so I think I can do it. And that's a feeling you really have to install during your training and during your coaching into nurses. For me, it's the same. I have never done a webinar in English before, or not that way. And especially because it's recorded and it's there in the air forever, and it has some tongue twisters, I'm quite nervous, but I have never done it before. I think I can do it, and I'll just do my best. If I would not try to do it, then there's a problem. So self-efficacy, that's the feeling that really helps us to get out of our comfort zone and to help us grow and to bring things really into the practice. What is palliative care? I'll give you the short version of the definition. Palliative care is an approach in care that improves the quality of life of people facing a life-limiting illness or severe frailty. It addresses both the patient and the close ones. The focus of palliative care is on the prevention and relief of suffering of somatic, psychological, social, and spiritual problems. Palliative care also concerns maintaining the autonomy of patients, their access to information, and their choices. Palliative care focuses on quality of life for those who cannot be cured. Starting palliative care does not say anything about a person's life expectancy. It can be short, it can be quite long. It is just a response to the existing care needs of the patient. That being said, let's try the chat to have some interaction. What do you think is the focus of palliative care? Is it 1, quality of life, 2, quality of dying, or 3, comfort for people in the final stage of life? Don't hesitate to answer. It's not an exam. I see a lot of ones coming in. That's right. It's quality of life, quality of dying, and quality of comfort for people in the final stage of life is also true. It's all 3, but the real focus is the quality of life. Next one is a little bit more difficult, I think. What do you think of this quote? In healthcare, we must do everything we technically can to prolong life. What do you think? I see some ones, but a lot of twos. It's true that today's medicine is capable of many things, and it still continues to evolve. There are patients who would not have survived in the past and now can be kept alive longer than ever before. But there's a downside to this positive thing. Some treatments are very invasive with many side effects. They may prolong life, but they have a negative impact on the quality of life. So we must ask the question, is continuing curative treatment always appropriate care, or should we really discuss this with our patients and giving them really honest information? In palliative care, that's what we want to do. We don't say we will prolong, we don't say we will shorten, we will just listen to the patients, give information, and step along with them. So, who is our palliative care patients? It's a patient suffering from an incurable, progressive, life-threatening disease without any possibility of remission, stabilization, or control of the disease. But what is that? An incurable, progressive, life-threatening disease? Well, there are 3 disease trajectories. In an oncological, I have some problems with my, let's do it this way. I have some problems with my animations. In an oncological trajectory, there's often a long stable phase that can last several years. Palliative care involvement from the time of diagnosis plays an important role in the care process, especially advanced care planning. In chronic diseases such as COPD or heart failure, the patient's condition gets worse gradually, even with optimal treatments. But sometimes exacerbations occur and the condition of the patients gets worse very quickly. This is often followed by a slight improvement without full recovery. By time, exacerbations occur with increasing frequency, and the patient often dies as a result of an exacerbation. As the patient has previously recovered, the death is often very unexpected for the close ones. I think this is the one we saw with our Pope the last couple of years. We saw that he had some exacerbations and his condition went worse gradually. And for a lot of people, it was unexpected that he died. Then the last trajectory is the frail or vulnerable patients, such as people with advanced stages of dementia or elderly people with various health problems. There we see a pattern of gradual but continuous decline in health and functioning up till death. Let's meet Julia. Julia is 86 years old. She's widowed, she's not sick, she's vulnerable, her self-care is less successful, she cannot do the cooking or household or the groceries anymore, and she chooses to move to an elderly care facility. In what trajectory do you think Julia is in? Just type it in the chat. That's right, she's in a frailty trajectory very early. She's quite good at the time, but she's in a frailty trajectory. You see, it's before the line in time, she's quite good for the moment. Then we have Charlotte. Charlotte is 64 years old. She's an intelligent woman. She's retired as a school principal. She has a large family and she loves it when the grandchildren comes to visit. And she just had the diagnosis of an aggressive tumor in her left lung. What kind of disease trajectory do you see here? That's right. It's an oncological trajectory. And I said it was by the diagnosis, so it's really early in the disease trajectory. Some oncological trajectories don't end with death. It can be that it stabilizes, but also in oncological trajectories, it's important to have a palliative care approach from the diagnosis. So now comes the most difficult part for me, but maybe also for you, of this presentation, because I want to explain the cure care diagram with you all. It gives an overview of how the goals of care can change during the disease trajectory. When diagnosed with a life-threatening condition, the disease treatment is focused on curative care. But even then, early palliative care and chronic care begin because people at that time, they have existential questions. There is a need to treat side effects, and people really want to discuss openly the possible consequences of their illness and their goals for life and care. Advanced care planning is appropriate from the time of the diagnosis. In one of the next webinars, we will take a closer look at advanced care planning. When cure is no longer possible, the focus of treatment changes. The palliative care needs become more pronounced and the focus shifts from symptom control to comfort. Psychosocial and existential care needs become more prominent due to the life-threatening nature of the illness and the burden it places on all areas of life. When it becomes clear that death is imminent, the terminal stage begins. We know that there are some differences in the language of different countries. Some call it end-of-life care, others terminal care, other dying phase. We chose to use terminal care here in this project, but you can put another term on it how you want. In terminal care, all attention is focused at maximum comfort in physical, psychosocial, and spiritual levels. After death, attention shifts to the family, informal caregivers, close ones, and also the healthcare team to provide aftercare and bereavement. Grief is very individual and it cannot be expressed in time. So we put a dotted line in the cure care diagram. Palliative care needs are present throughout the entire trajectory, from the diagnosis till after death. There are strong individual differences, including the treatment goals. So that was the difficult part, our diagram. Let's meet Kerem. Kerem is from Turkish descent. He's in our country for 20 years now. He's a family man and works as an industrial painter and smokes a lot. He comes to the emergency department and is very short of breath. He's diagnosed with severe lung failure. Just a question, where do you put him and on which disease trajectory? Yes, I see the answers coming in. Chronic organ failure, that's right. It's COPD. So it's chronic organ failure. He's just diagnosed, so he's probably at one of the first exacerbations you see here. He will get better, but will not be as good as he was up till the next exacerbation and so on. So we know what to expect in the following years. If you want to put him on this diagram, where would you put him? I see some different answers, but they all say the same. I think Siri is coming into my presentation. She wants to help. Some people say B, other people say light blue, other people say chronic care. So you all say the same. It's about here. It's this. He's really in a chronic stage. The diagnosis is immediately in a chronic stage. And we know that during the disease trajectory, he will go along to the right. And to show, I put an arrow here like this, because at this stage, there is need of chronic care and early palliative care, but there will be some curative care done. And we have to talk with him about what his goals of care are. I will go to Christophe. Christophe is an architect. He really enjoys life with his life partner. They do dinners, they go on holidays. They are really outdoor people. But lately, yeah, there are some signals. He forgets appointments, calculations are incorrect, and there's no creativity in what he makes, and there's a diagnosis of early onset dementia. Where do you put him in the disease trajectories? Yes, really, it's a frailty trajectory. And like we saw with Julia, it's really early. So it's really to the left of the frailty trajectory. If we put him on the diagram from cure to care, where would you put him here? I see some people saying A, B, B, more to the left, more to the right. Know that this diagram is not exact science. It's a really, it comes really in handy if you want to discuss the situation of a patient in a team. So you can see, oh, some people see, oh, it's really on the left. Other people see it's really on the right. So it's a help to discuss patients. Also, for Christophe, we see that the focus, I think, in the beginning will be on curative care, but also already a small need of a palliative care approach, especially when it's about advanced care planning. But we will know that during his disease trajectory, he will shift to the right very gradually because it's a frailty trajectory. I will just take a small time out and give a news flash to teachers who are listening. You see that we always try to use cases. Yeah, you always also can use cases from students. And we try to always guide the students through first the disease trajectories, then the diagram. In the next webinar, we will talk about our blinkers for palliative care, lights, signaling lights for palliative care. So if you try to guide students through this, you really can help improve self-efficacy because there's a lot of exercise in it. End of the newsflash for teachers. Why is palliative care important? That's really, really, really important. We know that palliative care has spectacular effects when we see the research done about it. There are a lot of benefits. We see that there is a greater well-being for the patients and for the close ones. They really feel supported. Patients don't have a shorter life. They just live just as long and sometimes even longer. Patients' wishes and their preferences are respected because there's more room for autonomy and earlier in the disease trajectory. If you can talk to someone close to the diagnosis about what he or she wants in care, in life, then you give a lot more autonomy to this person. It results in a greater well-being. We see that there's less inappropriate care at the end of life. What do we mean by inappropriate care? We mean admissions to the hospital in the dying phase, or to intensive care units, or to do a lot of diagnostic things or trials with patients. We see also that people tend to die more at home if they want to. Finally, there's a lower financial cost, not only for the person and the family itself, but also for the broader government cost. So overall, there are no downsides to palliative care. It's better for the patients, it's better for the family. We also see that for palliative care teams, there is less emotional distress, less moral distress. We see that patients live just as long and even longer sometimes, and they die where they want to die, or the chance that they die where they want to die comes a lot bigger, and it costs less. So there is no reason at all not to give palliative care. Only the fact that we are a little bit scared. A lot of caregivers are a little bit scared to talk about it. Where is palliative care given? Well, palliative care is basic care. Every nurse should be able to do a palliative care approach in home care, residential care, hospitals, hospices, day centers, and so on. There are also specialist palliative care providers in every setting. But I cannot say a lot about it here because the organization of specialist care is different in every country. If you want specific information, you can find it on the website of the European Association of Palliative Care or at your local palliative care association. I'll take you back to Julia. Julia lives in an elderly care facility now. She says, I feel quite good here. I'm old and I expect to have a good quality of life. And when something happens, I don't want CPR or intensive treatment if I get worse. We already established that Julia is in a frailty trajectory. Where would you put her on this diagram? I tricked you into that because Julia, if you really look at it, is not really on the diagram. There is not a real diagnosis yet. We know that she's frail, but there is not really a diagnosis about something that's really wrong with her. She's just old and frail. She can, by her choice, stay at home or get treated in an elderly care facility and so on. Everywhere there should be a palliative care approach. So I just used Julia to say palliative care starts from the diagnosis, but can also be there before the diagnosis. Here you hear really Julia saying what she expects from life, what quality of life means for her, and what she doesn't want to have done anymore. Next, we go back to Kerem. Kerem says, I don't feel comfortable at home. When I'm very short of breath, I always come to the hospital because I feel most comfortable and safe here. We already established that Kerem is in the trajectory of chronic organ failure. Where would you put him in the cure care diagram if he goes like to the hospital for the 5th time after an exacerbation? I see here medium blue, B or C, and that's true. It's a mix. You see that he goes further and further to the right. In the case of Kerem, if you read the case further, you can find the case of Kerem and all the other cases. You can find them on our website. And after a while, he gets heart problems too, and so on and so on. So you see the shift of organ failure going to the right. Charlotte is our next person. She says, when times come, I want to die peacefully at home, surrounded by my family. Also for Charlotte, we already established that she's in the disease trajectory. Again, my animations, of an oncological trajectory, really in the beginning. And also for her in the diagram, where do you put her the moment of diagnosis? here now I see some different answers. The moment of diagnosis, you can put her here, but because it is, like I said, a severe lung tumor, I think it will shift really fast from the light from the left to the right. Thanks for all the interaction. People often think mainly of palliative care in terms of professional caregivers, nurses, doctors, and mostly specialist caregivers. But like I just showed you from Kerem in the hospital, or Julia in residential care, or Charlotte at home, especially in the beginning and during the trajectory, they don't need a lot of specialist caregivers. They really need the regular basic caregivers, oncological caregivers, elderly care nurses, and so on, to give them the basic palliative care. Because like in the beginning, I said, it's an approach in care. It's not a specialist care. Palliative care really needs a team approach to support patients and their close ones. Therefore, every member of the broad care team has a role to play. And because palliative care is teamwork, everyone who comes into contact with palliative care patients and their close ones is equally important, because it's also about the bond you can have with the patient. So if you teach students, or if you are a nurse, or you are a colleague of nurses and so on, know that you can really give palliative care, because it's an approach as seeing dying as a part of life, and being prepared to discuss quality of life, quality of care, and dying with patients and their close ones. Do not avoid difficult conversations, do not avoid questions. Talk to your colleagues, nurses, and so on, to give their patients as much as information, but not just dump information on them, but help them understand information, follow their lead, but give them as much as information as possible. It will help to feel patients to feel involved, also close ones to feel involved, and to speak openly on what is important to them. And just to help you, what questions can you ask? You can ask a patient, what does that mean, quality of life for you? What is important for you in this stage of your life? Where do you want to die? What are the most stressful things for you right now? What if there's a flare-up or an exacerbation in your illness? What is if there's a development in your illness? Those are questions you can openly ask and discuss with your patients, because it's really important to know what is important to them. Maybe use the chat and tell me what kind of questions maybe you sometimes ask your patients, or how you can discuss things with your patients. That's the most difficult time in a webinar, when you ask a question and nothing comes up. But I'm sure you do have conversations with patients. What can we do for you? How can we make you feel happier or more comfortable? What do you need right now? What hope do you still have? Also a really, really nice question. What do you wish? What do you hope? What do you fear when you think about the future? Fabien says, my students have conversations with the patients and ask them very openly, how are you today? That's also a really nice question, not a really heavy questions, because it opens a door and doesn't go too deep if patients don't want this. How are you today? So that are really, really nice questions. It's just having a palliative care approach is about when you go into the room of a patient and you open up the curtains and you say, it's a nice day. And the patient says, not for me. You don't answer, but the sun is shining, just smile. You can say, oh, why isn't it a good day for you? What can we do for you? Jane says, what is suffering to you? And when do you consider yourself to be suffering? So all really important questions. If you think about palliative care, and in the next webinars, we will talk about how to give palliative care. Today we do who, when, what, where, why palliative care. But and the how of palliative care will be there in the next webinars. But here I really want to emphasize that palliative care is not about doing things. It's mostly about listening and in early from the diagnosis, talking to patients. Voilà. This is the last one. I hope I gave you some knowledge, but I very much hope I gave you some self-efficacy. And maybe you have done it before or not done it before, but I'm very sure you can do it. Did you have the music or should I sing? Okay, Danny shows no singing. We have the music.
No, you have to sing. You have to sing. I'm sorry.
Do you have questions for me? The only question is to sing again. Okay, really no questions? Know that everything about this webinar will be online. You will have the presentation with also my notes because it is in English. I wrote it quite literally because it's more difficult if it's not your own language. So the presentation will be online. Also, the syllabus with all that information will be online. And by time, we will also have an e-course with all this information. You can find also the stories of Julia, Kerem, Christophe, and Charlotte online. And we also have Andy. He was not here in it. It's a young adult with cancer online. So we will have the syllabi with also e-courses and also some impact tools you can use. And everything will be free downloadable and also in PowerPoint or in Word, so in forms you can adjust in how you want it. If you don't like Pippi Longstocking or you want her in your own language, you can put her in another way. Heidi asked, do you use the schedules with conversations with our family members? Because I'm not really in the care for the moment, I have not done it before, but I know in an elderly care facility that they use it to discuss in team and also to bring it if they think it's worth. They use it with family members and even with patients. So they use it from a home care team. I know they use it regularly too when they discuss patients in team. And they say it's really good because it helps to bring everyone on the same page. And you'll see, it is it helps you really look at the patient and think, okay, where are we now and where are we going to? So, but yeah, that's for the webinar about advanced care planning, maybe. But if you know you're in a chronic organ failure trajectory, you know that in the beginning of an exacerbation, there's sometimes a lot of fear. What now? What are we going to do now? But if you know that there will be exacerbations after that the patient is getting a little bit better, you can ask the question, what if there's a next exacerbation? What can we do then? So you don't have the panic and the what now moment a little bit later. So in this way, the visualization can really help. Okay, Steen says, I do use it. Yes, he's one of my former students. And they really use it in an elderly care facilities. Voilà, then I'll end and wave at you together with Pippi Longstocking. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you, Veerle, for a very nice presentation. Thank you for the audience for the interaction in the chat. We are going to close this webinar, and we hope to see you back next week on Tuesday, that is, not on Monday, but on Tuesday. And then we will talk about palliative care indicators and professional communication through ISPAR methodology. And I don't know if Patricia still wants to say something.
Thanks, Danny, and thank you to Veerle. That was really a great presentation. And as a non-native English speaker, you presented that so well and so clearly. For your first time doing a webinar in English, you would never have known. So thank you so much for that. I just wanted to say that the future talks that we're having, that you need to register each week. So each one will have its own unique link, and you need to register for each one separately. And that you can see the one that we have coming up next week on the palliative care indicators. So please keep an eye on our social media and on our website. From tomorrow, you will have the link to be able to register for next week.